What's up, y'all? My name is Aaron Mallory, aka MrLetGo, and today we're about to discuss something very important. When should you leave a relationship? I get questions all the time. Should I stay? Should I leave? Am I being selfish? Should I give it another chance? This is going to be very, very interesting for a lot of people. Let's get it. Now, if you're new to my channel and you want to learn more about how to let go of the things and people that are no longer serving your best interest by getting a better understanding of the opposite sex, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to separate this into 5 different parts: time, tools, tolerance, tradability, and teachings. All right, so let's look at time. Time, as you know, is one of our greatest commodities, right? Because we can't get it back. But with that being said, a lot of people look at time and say, well, I invested so much time with this person. I don't want to just give it all away and waste it and just go be with somebody else. But at the end of the day, you wasted the time by staying with this person so long. See, a lot of people stay with somebody in order to stay with them. Let me explain that. People would see problems with this person, but they'll ignore the problems, and they'll see more problems and more problems and more red flags and more red flags. But because they want somebody so badly, they will stay. And then they'll use the time that they've spent with this person, knowing that this person is possibly the wrong person for them. They'll use that time as an excuse to stay with that person. Well, I invested so much time, it doesn't make sense for me to start over. But you knew this person wasn't necessarily the right person for you in the beginning. So you're wasting time almost on purpose. So why do people do this? Laziness. A lot of people don't necessarily want to date. So the first person that has a certain amount of attributes and a little bit more good versus bad in them, they'll just get with that person because either they don't want to be single, they're tired of dating, they're lonely. Sometimes people are simply bored and they just don't want to be alone. So they simply give up their time and be with this person in hopes that they would look at you and say, all right, this person really wants to be with me. This person has sacrificed so much for me. I need to just change. I need to just stop being this dirtbag person. I need to stop being, this is not what's going to happen. If a person is who they are when you met them, this is who they are. You can't expect a person to magically come out and be different than they actually were when you met them. You have to look at that person and say, where they are in their life right now is who they are in the future. We can't sit around hoping somebody matures or changes or appreciates you so much where they're going to change for you. You're wasting all of your time. So if you look at time as an investment, you have to cut your losses. So instead of looking at time with someone that you don't necessarily think you should continue to be with as an investment, look at it like school, right? You go to school and you don't just stay in school for the rest of your life. You go to school in order to learn something, and then you leave school and then you go apply what you learned from the school somewhere else. So yes, you invested a lot of time. Yes, I get it. But look at that person as school. You spent 4 years in college. You spent 3 years in college. And now it's time for you to take that information that you learned, those lessons that you learned about what you want and what you don't want, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and go take that knowledge and go into another relationship with all of that knowledge instead of staying in school. It's time for you to go and get a real relationship, because that person was the practice relationship that you needed in order to learn. The next is tools. This one is super important. What tools does this person have? what tools do you have? And what I mean by tools is capability. Is somebody capable of giving you something that you need? Two things. You have to know what you need, and then you have to look at the person and say, are they capable of giving it to me? Now, if you don't know what you need, you don't know what tools you either have or you're lacking in order to get what you actually want out of life. That's the first problem. Once you recognize the things that you actually need in order to get the fulfillment that you want out of this particular relationship, you see, I didn't say happiness because happiness is already inside of you. The person is just simply meant to add to the happiness that you already have inside of you. So if that tool, which is happiness, is not inside of you already, you cannot expect that other person to give you that, because certain tools you have to already have. So as far as fulfillment goes, now a person can fulfill you, because fulfillment is simply filling you of something that you are either want or you don't necessarily have presently. So fulfillment is cool. A person can fulfill you, but it cannot make you happy. Your happiness is already inside of you. So you have to look at the tools. Now, let me get a little farther into tools. So as far as tools go, I wrote down a couple things that I need a woman in particular for me to actually have in order for our relationship to actually grow. The first one is, can she listen to understand instead of listening simply to respond or have a rebuttal about her point instead of understanding my point? The next one is she ambitious? Can she look at something and say, all right, I'm not necessarily used to doing that, but what the hell? Let's figure it out. I want to learn new things. I want to grow as a person. The next is, I want to know if she's capable of being a good parent. This means she has to have kids already, so I can have an opportunity to observe how her parenting skills is versus my parenting belief and skills are. Next is she capable of letting me lead our family? Because some people have been single parents, or they've been just single for so long where they don't necessarily know how to allow another person to come in and lead their household. Next is this woman emotionally available? A lot of people have been hurt for so long where they just don't even know how to be open, vulnerable. And next thing you know, that person has simply become emotionally unavailable. They're not affectionate or anything. And that person has simply become a shell within themselves without even realizing it. Next is this person affectionate? Like I said, with emotional unavailability, sometimes they've been raised by emotionally unavailable parents where they're not even affectionate because their mom or their dad wasn't affectionate. They don't even know what to do as far as affection goes because they never felt it. Next is she able to articulate what's bothering her? This is huge. Sometimes something is bothering a person and they just go into a corner and don't talk to anybody or stay quiet until they figure it out on their own. But at the end of the day, we all need each other. And when you're with somebody, it's important for you to be able to articulate what's bothering you so the other person can actually help. But some people, they're used to doing things on their own for so long, they don't need anybody's help. And they just go into a corner until they figure it out. And the other person is just left alone in a relationship until they decide to come out of the corner. And they don't even know how to articulate what the problem actually is. Next is, I need a woman who doesn't make everything about her. Example, I have a problem with the woman, right? We're dating and I have an issue with something that she says or does. And out of nowhere, she deflects the problem on me. Well, I don't say anything when you do this, or I don't say anything when you do that. Why are you judging me? Instead of simply working out the problem and saying, all right, I can do better at that. Next is she capable of leaving her mom or other family members out of our business? Do I have to deal with everything her mom told her because she can't necessarily think for herself. So those are particular things that I need from a woman. These in particular are tools. So what tools do you need from other people? And what tools do you possess already? Now, just a reminder, if these tips are helping you, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell so you'll know the next time I post. And like the video. Like the video. The next is tolerance. Is your upbringing, your belief system, making it where you're so used to tolerating things where it's just a part of your life? You witness your mom tolerate abuse from your dad. Are you used to seeing people in your family just tolerate crap, tolerate somebody talking to you like, you're not necessarily on their level? Are you used to just tolerating things and you don't think you can do anything better? What are you tolerating? What is your tolerance level? See, my tolerance level is very low. I observe a person, we're dating, I might really like the person, but if there's some issues there and I've addressed those issues and those issues just won't go away, I'm not going to tolerate disrespect or any type of things that I don't necessarily want to continue to have in my life, like having peace, because I have a very peaceful life, right? The last thing I need is a lot of drama in my life. So I have a low tolerance level for certain things like that. So it's important for you to understand what your tolerance level is. What are you tolerating too much of? And it's simply because you're used to your parents tolerating things. You're used to your friends tolerating things. So now you're tolerating things in your life because there's a certain amount of normality about this crap that you've started putting up with. Next is tradability. Are you with somebody simply because you don't think you can get anybody better? Are you with somebody and all they tell you is you're this and you're that? You're never going to find somebody better than me. So I don't see why you would actually imagine going somewhere else. Do you feel like you're with somebody that is the best thing you've ever had and you're dealing with a lot of crap simply because you know or you feel in your heart that this is the best person you're ever going to get? Nobody's ever going to love you like this person will love you. Well, this is a lie. Not that I know your life, but simply I know life itself. And there's always somebody better. Regardless of who you're with, you can do better. It's up to you to go out and find that person. And then at the end of the day, it's not about finding somebody better. It's about finding somebody that makes you or adds to your happiness, right? Because it's not about finding somebody better. It's about being happy. Because sometimes you can be happy being alone. Are you reluctant to trade being with somebody and being miserable for not being with somebody and being happy? What are you trading happiness for? Do you feel like you just don't deserve happiness? So you might as well stay here? You can have everything you want. Just have to work for it. You have to date for it. Because like I said earlier in this video, sometimes people don't want to date because of laziness. They just don't want to go through the people. But at the end of the day, if you go to a grocery store and you're looking for fruit, cucumbers, or anything else, are you going to pick up this first cucumber and just throw it in your bag? No, you're going to look around and make sure it doesn't have any problems, right? And the same thing goes for people. You go out and date, and as you're dating, you look around for problems. And if there's an issue with the person, you put them back. So you have to treat dating and looking for the right person the same way you do with fruits and vegetables. You have to inspect the thing. You have to inspect the person and see if they're right for you. Now I saved the most important one. I know I said the other one was important, but I saved the most important one for last. Teachings. What were you taught as a young boy or young girl about relationships? Sometimes you weren't taught anything, and you learned a lot of the things that you believe in as far as relationships go from TV, friends, family members, and you built this belief system and you start just going off with the belief system, not even knowing whether it's right or wrong. And it's not about right or wrong. It's about what you actually need. So what were you taught? Were you taught that regardless of what goes on in a relationship, you're supposed to just put up with it? Do you feel like if the good outweighs the bad, you're supposed to stay? See, to me, it's kind of like a slave mentality with when the good outweighs the bad. You know, imagine a slave. They may have to worry about getting abused or getting belittled or having to work like 1,000 hours a day. But the good is they have somewhere to live, they get food, things like that, right? So it's important for you to look at your life and say, all right, am I living with this slave mentality? Like I get abused, I get belittled, I get talked to like I'm not even a human, but my kids are in a good school, we live in a good neighborhood, I don't have to work, or I don't have to work that hard, or I don't have to pay the mortgage, so I'm okay. These are bad teachings. And the key thing about teachings is if you have kids, your kids are being taught by the dysfunction that is going on in your life right now. If you're not happy in your relationship, it's important for you to do something about it. Why? Because not only do you deserve happiness by working for it, by leaving or dating or learning from your mistakes and doing something different, but by paying attention to the fact that your kids are learning from you. Do you really want to teach your kids the same thing your parents taught you? Nothing? And they're watching you do the same thing that you watched your mother do or put up with or your father did? What are you teaching your kids? And what did your parents or your family members or your friends teach you that is literally ruining your life and is causing you to not seek happiness? So out of these 5 things, time, tools, tolerance, tradability, and teachings, which one either you identify with the most or which one has affected you the most? Comment below and let me know. Let's have a conversation about this. With that being said, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, make sure to hit the notification bell so you'll know the next time I post, and have a wonderful day.